Have you ever wondered why some people seem to grow old surrounded by warmth, laughter, and love, while others feel more and more alone, even when they're not physically by themselves? It's not just about aging or slowing down. Often, it's the quiet little ways we carry ourselves, the patterns we don't even realize we've slipped into, the ones that slowly push others away, bit by bit. These patterns aren't loud or obvious. They sneak in, through frustration, hurt, pride, or even fear. And before we know it, the phone rings less. Visits get shorter, conversations feel surface level. The hardest part, we don't mean to do it. None of us sets out to become distant or disconnected. But sometimes, without realizing it, we start closing doors we don't know how to reopen. The good news is, it's never too late to change. Truly, whether you're 60 or 90, you still have the power to soften, reconnect, and bring more meaning back into your relationships. In this video, I'll walk you through 9 emotional patterns that many of us fall into as we grow older, and more importantly, how to recognize them and gently shift them. It starts with awareness. You'll hear about Helen, a retired teacher in her early 70s, who began noticing how her words, actions, and even silence were slowly changing her connection with her family. Her story might feel a little familiar, and that's the point. I hope that through her journey, you'll find yourself thinking, hey, maybe I do that too. And if so, that's not something to feel ashamed of. Instead, it's something to feel hopeful about. Because today, right now, you have the chance to do something different. To take back the warmth, the joy, the closeness you might have thought was gone. So stick with me. These 9 patterns may surprise you. And if just one of them speaks to you, if it helps you feel more connected tomorrow than you did yesterday, then it's worth it. Withdrawing instead of asking for help. Helen always prided herself on being independent. Raised 3 kids on her own, managed the house, the bills, the yard. She didn't just handle life, she handled it well. So when her joints started aching, or when lifting heavy groceries felt harder than it used to, her first instinct was always the same: I've got it, even when she didn't, even when it hurt. One afternoon, she was loading a bag of potting soil into her trunk. It was heavy, and her arms trembled. A young man nearby noticed and offered to help. Helen smiled politely and said, "No, thank you, I'm fine." But she wasn't. Her back hurt for days afterward. And that night, sitting alone in her kitchen, she realized something. She hadn't turned down help. She turned down connection. What Helen didn't see at first was that saying no all the time was slowly building a wall between her and the people who cared. Her children offered to pick up groceries. Her neighbor asked if she wanted company at her doctor's visit. Each time, she politely declined. Not because she didn't want help, but because somewhere along the way, needing help had started to feel like failure. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Accepting help isn't a weakness, it's an act of trust, of humility. It gives others the chance to show love, to feel useful, to feel connected. And it gives us a break from carrying everything on our own. Helen started small. She let her granddaughter carry her bags. She said yes to a ride to the pharmacy, and something shifted. Those small yes moments brought light back into her days. They became chats in the car, shared laughs at the store, real conversations on the porch. Letting others help didn't make her less strong. It made her more open. So, if you find yourself saying "I'm fine" out of habit, pause and ask, what if I said yes? You just might be opening the door to something beautiful. Letting negativity lead the conversation. Every morning, Helen would start her day with a sigh. Her knees ached, her coffee wasn't hot enough, and the news, well, that only made things worse. When her daughter called, she'd launch right in, "Can you believe what's going on in the world?" Or, "I barely slept again last night." It wasn't that she meant to complain. It just became her way of connecting. But over time, it wore people out. Her neighbor stopped chatting as much. Her son's calls got shorter. Even her grandkids seemed distant. One afternoon, her youngest grandson said, "Grandma, why are you always upset?" That hit her. She realized she hadn't said something positive in weeks. Not because she didn't feel joy, but because she forgot to share it. Negativity had become her default. So she made one small change. Start each conversation with something warm. "The flowers are blooming," or "I baked banana bread today," and slowly, voices stayed longer. Smiles returned. She didn't just feel better. She made others feel better too. Losing patience too easily. As we grow older, time begins to feel different. We notice delays more. Waiting in lines feels longer. Watching someone fumble with technology can feel frustrating. It's easy to let little moments build into irritation. But here's the truth. Losing patience doesn't just make those moments harder for others. It makes them heavier for us. The stress lingers long after the moment is gone. Impatience slowly erodes kindness. It shortens conversations, closes hearts, and builds tension where warmth used to live. And the hardest part, it often becomes a habit without us even realizing. But patience isn't just about slowing down. It's about giving grace to others and to ourselves. It's remembering that most people aren't trying to frustrate us, they're just doing their best. So, the next time you feel that edge rising, pause, breathe, remind yourself, this isn't the moment to lose your peace. It's the moment to protect it. A little more calm, a little more grace can change everything for everyone. Focusing too much on the past. Over time, Helen found herself circling back to old wounds, a harsh remark from her sister years ago, a friendship that ended under misunderstanding. She replayed those moments in her mind, carrying a mental list of hurts that made her tense and distant. Eventually, she stopped answering Mary's calls, convinced that she'd only face more pain. But the irony was painful. She was punishing herself, not them. Holding on to grudges feels like carrying stones in your pockets, heavy, unending, and exhausting. Forgiveness isn't about forgetting or excusing the hurt. It's about choosing freedom and peace. Helen took a bold step. She wrote letters to those who had wronged her, poured out every grievance, then burned the pages in her garden. As the smoke rose, she felt a weight lift off her chest, as if she'd reclaimed her heart. Letting go requires courage, but it can change everything. Begin with one small act, pick a single grudge, write it on paper, then tear it up, burn it, or shred it. Feel how your body relaxes, then reach out with a simple message, a hello or a brief apology. You might be surprised how a tiny gesture can rebuild trust. When you release the past, you create space for new joy and deeper connection. Change can feel uncomfortable, especially when new tech or routines pop up. Helen would dismiss invitations to video chat, shrug off her daughter's offers to teach her texting, and insist I don't need it. She felt safe in her familiar routines, but that safety came at a price. Missing grandkid photos, birthday reminders, even inside jokes she wasn't part of. In her mind, learning something new felt like admitting defeat to time, a quiet sign she was slipping behind. By resisting change, she unwittingly closed doors to everyday moments. Then one day she said yes to a simple video call. Struggling with the app, she laughed when she accidentally turned on a puppy filter instead of her camera, and heard her grandson's voice live for the first time in months. After that call, she began exploring group texts, sharing photos, and sending voice notes. Each tap of the screen felt like a new connection rather than a threat. Embracing small changes can open new worlds. You don't have to master everything overnight. Try one new thing each week. Maybe it's joining a family chat or learning a simple app. It's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. Each step forward reminds you that life's still moving, and you can still move with it. Let today be the day you open that door. Think of every new skill as a gift to yourself and your family. The joy often outweighs any awkward first steps. Neglecting self-care and appearance. Helen used to take pride in her appearance. She'd pick a bright blouse, style her hair, and dab on lipstick before stepping out. But over time, she stayed in her robe until noon, convinced no one would notice. It wasn't vanity, it was self-respect. Those small rituals reminded her she mattered. Without them, she felt invisible, and others began to treat her as if she'd faded away. Friends stopped inviting her out. Strangers no longer made eye contact on the sidewalk. Neglecting how we present ourselves doesn't just change how others see us, it changes how we see ourselves. Self-care routines, like choosing a favorite outfit, brushing your hair, or adding a spritz of perfume, send a message, I'm worth this effort. That mindset shift can lift your mood, boost your confidence, and draw people back in. You might find yourself standing taller and speaking with more ease. It's a small act, but the ripple effect can be huge. Start small. Pick one item you love to wear or set aside 5 minutes to brush your hair and apply a favorite scent. Notice how you feel and how people respond. Self-care isn't selfish. It's the foundation of connection and joy. When you show up for yourself, you show up for others, too. And that simple act of care can change the tone of your entire day. It reminds you that you still matter, that life still holds beauty and possibility, even as the years go by. Clinging to things instead of peace, sometimes holding onto every little thing can weigh you down. Helen's living room looked like a museum of memories, shelves sagging under dusty photo albums, unread letters tied with ribbons, boxes of clothes she swore she'd wear someday. One rainy afternoon, her friend Karen arrived with coffee, paused at the doorway, and said, I didn't realize you had this much stuff. The room felt suffocating. She kept every birthday card, ticket stub, and gift bag, convinced they held a piece of her past. When she needed her favorite teacup, she spent 20 minutes digging through stacks of china boxes. When grandkids visited, they tiptoed around piles of sweaters and old magazines, whispering about Grandma's cave. Even the family cat got lost under the mountain of belongings. One Saturday, Helen invited her neighbor in for tea. The neighbor hesitated at the front step, stepping over a mountain of boxes. Helen realized the clutter was blocking more than hallways, it was blocking connections. So she let go of 5 items before tea: a worn sweater, a stack of magazines, an old scarf. As the clutter shrank, her laughter returned, and the room finally felt welcoming again. Speaking more than listening. Too often we speak more than we listen. At the dinner table, Helen launched into childhood stories before her son could finish talking about his day. When her granddaughter tried to share her new school project, Helen's back in my day memories filled the air. The kids smiled politely, eyes wandering, longing for a chance to share their own world. During weekly phone calls, Helen's voice filled every pause. Friends admitted they felt unheard, that conversations felt like monologues. One evening, her book club asked her opinion on a new novel. She spoke for 20 minutes, never once asking what they thought. Their silence spoke volumes. They craved listening, not lectures, and felt shut out by her endless stories. At church gatherings, Helen often interrupted a neighbor mid-sentence, eager to offer advice. But after noticing strained smiles, she decided to try something new, ask a question, and stay quiet. At the next meeting, she asked Mary about her garden and truly listened. Mary's face lit up. In that moment, Helen learned that listening well can be the kindest gift of all. Criticizing younger generations. As we age, it's natural to compare today's world with the one we knew. But when we point out every wrong choice, music, apps, even how kids dress, we risk making younger people feel invalidated. Criticism can come across as dismissal rather than guidance. Instead of building on shared values, we build walls. True connection grows from respect, not judgment, and from curiosity rather than correction. For example, Helen often sighed at her grandson's gaming habits, calling them a waste of time. He stopped inviting her to play or watch him. That simple judgment drove a wedge between them. It wasn't until she asked, "What do you enjoy about it?" that he opened up. By swapping criticism for genuine interest, she discovered his strategy and felt closer than ever before. To bridge the gap, start by asking open-ended questions. How did that make you feel? Or what excites you about this? Listen without interrupting or offering advice right away. Share your own experiences only when invited. A little humility acknowledging you don't have all the answers can transform a lecture into a conversation. In that space, respect and understanding can flourish across any age divide. As we wrap up this journey, remember that these 9 patterns aren't a judgment on how you've aged, but a roadmap back to the warmth and connections you deserve. From welcoming help instead of withdrawing, to releasing old grudges, each insight is an invitation to rediscover closeness. Growing older doesn't mean growing apart. It means learning new ways to bring people closer. You've already taken the first step by watching and reflecting. That shows how much you value the people in your life. Take a moment today to reflect on which pattern spoke to you most. Maybe it was defaulting to negativity, resisting small changes, neglecting self-care, or holding onto regrets. Writing it down can bring clarity. Note one way this pattern shows up in your life, how it feels, and why. That simple act of awareness is a powerful first step toward gentle transformation and renewed, heartfelt relationships. Now, here's your challenge. Choose just one pattern to focus on this week. If you often decline offers of help, try saying yes once. If you catch yourself snapping at small frustrations, pause and take a deep breath before responding. If you tend to withdraw, reach out instead. Small shifts, repeated daily, lead to big changes over time. Notice how others respond and how your own heart opens in the process. I'd love to hear your experience. Share in the comments which pattern you're choosing and one simple action you'll take this week. If this video brought you value, please hit like and share it with friends or family who might benefit from these insights. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell so you won't miss future videos on aging with connection, purpose, and joy. Your support means the world to me and helps this community grow. Thank you for being here, for your openness and courage in exploring these patterns with me. Remember, you're never told to change, to reconnect, and to thrive. Each day offers a new chance to build bridges instead of walls, to reach out and rediscover warmth. Keep choosing compassion, curiosity, and joy as your companions. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care, stay connected, and embrace the beauty in every moment of your life.